If someone told you that the person you love most is slowly poisoning your mind, would you believe them? What if I told you that 6.2% of adults will experience narcissistic abuse in their lifetime, and most won't even realize it's happening until years later? Today, we're diving deep into narcissistic abuse, the invisible prison that millions of people are trapped in right now. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, why it's so hard to spot, and most importantly, how to protect yourself and the people you care about. Let's start with Olivia. She's 32, works as a teacher, and has been with Mark for 3 years. To everyone around them, Mark seems perfect. He's charming, successful, and always knows exactly what to say. But behind closed doors, Olivia feels like she's going crazy. She constantly questions her memory, doubts her decisions, and feels like nothing she does is ever good enough. Sound familiar? Olivia is experiencing narcissistic abuse, and she's not alone. Narcissistic abuse isn't just someone being a little self-centered or having a big ego. It's a calculated pattern of manipulation and control that slowly breaks down a person's sense of reality and self-worth. Think of it like this. Imagine someone is slowly turning down the lights in a room, so gradually that you don't notice it's getting darker until you're sitting in almost complete darkness. That's exactly what narcissistic abuse does to your mind. The abuser uses specific techniques to make you question your own thoughts, feelings, and memories. Psychologists call this psychological manipulation, and it's incredibly effective because it happens so slowly that the victim doesn't realize what's happening. The 5 major signs you need to know. Sign 1. Love bombing followed by devaluation. Remember how Mark seemed perfect at the beginning? That's called love bombing. It's when someone showers you with excessive attention, gifts, and affection right from the start. They make you feel like you found your soulmate. But here's the scary part. It's all fake. Once they have you hooked, the mask comes off. The person who used to text you every morning suddenly goes days without calling. The one who called you their everything now picks apart your appearance, your job, your friends. Dr. Ramani Durvasula, a leading expert on narcissistic abuse, explains that this cycle creates what's called trauma bonding. Your brain becomes addicted to those highs, and you'll do anything to get back to that perfect beginning. Sign 2. Gaslighting, making you question reality. This is probably the most dangerous sign. Gaslighting is when someone makes you doubt your own memory and perception of reality. Let's go back to Olivia. Mark promises to pick her up from work at 5 p.m. When 6 p.m. rolls around and he's nowhere to be found, Olivia calls him worried. His response? I never said 5 p.m. You always get things wrong. Maybe you should write things down if your memory is that bad. But Olivia remembers clearly. He did say 5 p.m. She even has the text message. But Mark is so confident, so calm, that she starts to doubt herself. Maybe she did misremember. Maybe her memory really is bad. This happens over and over until Olivia stops trusting her own thoughts and feelings. She becomes completely dependent on Mark's version of reality. Sign 3. Isolation from support systems. Narcissistic abusers are like skilled chess players. They think several moves ahead. They know that if you have strong relationships with family and friends, those people might point out the red flags. So they start small. Your sister doesn't really understand you like I do. Your friends are just jealous of what we have. Why do you need to go out with them when you have me? They create situations where you have to choose between them and your loved ones. And because they've already love-bombed you and made you feel special, you often choose them. Before you know it, you're completely isolated, and isolation is exactly what they want. No outside perspectives, no one to reality check their behavior, no one to help you see what's really happening. Sign 4. Walking on eggshells. If you find yourself constantly worried about setting someone off, that's a huge red flag. Narcissistic abusers create an environment where you never know what might trigger their anger. One day they love that you're independent and ambitious. The next day they're furious that you stayed late at work. One day they want you to be social and outgoing. The next day they accuse you of flirting with everyone you talk to. You start changing your behavior, your personality, even your appearance, trying to keep them happy. But here's the thing. You can never keep them happy because the rules keep changing. That's the point. Sign 5. Emotional manipulation and guilt tripping. This is where it gets really twisted. When you try to stand up for yourself or express your needs, they flip the script and make themselves the victim. After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me? You're being too sensitive. I was just joking. You're the only one who makes me feel this way. Without you, I don't know what I'd do. They use your empathy and compassion against you. They know exactly which emotional buttons to push to make you feel guilty for having completely normal needs and boundaries. The psychology behind why we miss these signs. Now, you might be thinking, how do people not see this happening? The truth is, narcissistic abusers are incredibly skilled at what they do. They don't target weak people. They target strong, empathetic, successful people. Think about it. Why would someone want to control someone who has nothing to offer? They go after people who are caring, generous, and successful, because those are the people worth controlling. Dr. Judith Lewis Herman, who literally wrote the book on psychological trauma, explains that abuse works because it breaks down your psychological defenses slowly over time. It's like a frog in boiling water. If you threw a frog into boiling water, it would jump out immediately. But if you put it in cool water and slowly turn up the heat, it won't notice until it's too late. The devastating impact of narcissistic abuse go way beyond just feeling sad or upset. Research shows that victims often develop complex PTSD, anxiety disorders, and depression. Their brains literally change from the chronic stress. A study published in the Journal of Aggression, Maltreatment, and Trauma found that survivors of emotional abuse show similar brain patterns to soldiers with combat PTSD. That's how serious this is. Olivia, who we talked about earlier, started having panic attacks, couldn't sleep, and began questioning every decision she made. She went from being a confident teacher who loved her job to someone who could barely function day to day. But here's what's really heartbreaking. Many victims stay because they think it's their fault. The abuser has convinced them that if they just try harder, communicate better, or change something about themselves, the relationship will go back to how it was in the beginning. Breaking free, the hardest part. The most dangerous time for someone in an abusive relationship is when they try to leave. Narcissistic abusers hate losing control, and they'll often escalate their behavior when they sense their victim is pulling away. They might promise to change. They might go back to love bombing. They might threaten to hurt themselves. They'll turn mutual friends against the victim. They'll use every tool in their manipulation toolbox. This is why having a support system is so crucial. Professional help, trusted friends, family members, anyone who can help you see the situation clearly and support you through the process. The path forward. If you're watching this and recognizing yourself in these signs, please know that it's not your fault. Narcissistic abusers are experts at what they do. They've had years, sometimes decades, to perfect their techniques. The first step is always awareness, which you're getting right now. The second step is reaching out for help, whether that's a therapist, a trusted friend, or a domestic violence hotline. You don't have to go through this alone. Recovery is possible. Your mind can heal. You can learn to trust your own thoughts and feelings again. Thousands of people have broken free from these relationships and gone on to live healthy, happy lives. Remember this: narcissistic abuse thrives in silence and isolation. It loses its power when it's brought into the light and talked about openly. That's why videos like this matter. That's why sharing your story matters. That's why supporting others who are going through this matters. You deserve to be with someone who builds you up, not tears you down. You deserve to have your thoughts and feelings respected. You deserve love that doesn't come with conditions or manipulation. If someone in your life is showing these signs, trust your gut. Your intuition is usually right, even when someone is trying to convince you otherwise.